Growth and transformation occur when you step into the unknown beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone. The comfort zone represents a state of familiarity where things are predictable, even if they aren't necessarily serving your highest potential. It's the mental and emotional space where you operate on autopilot, repeating the same patterns and routines that you've grown accustomed to. The problem with staying in this space is that it offers no room for expansion. You cannot create new future by clinging to the same thoughts, emotions, and actions that have shaped your past. The unknown, by contrast, is a place of unlimited possibility. It's where your greatest potential lies, but it's also where fear often arises. The uncertainty of the unknown can trigger feelings of anxiety or discomfort because your brain is wired to seek predictability and safety. However, it's important to understand that this fear is not an indicator of danger, but rather a sign that you are on the verge of personal growth. The discomfort you feel is simply your brain trying to pull you back into the familiar, into the old patterns that it knows how to navigate. To step into the unknown requires a willingness to embrace uncertainty and let go of control. You must be open to experiences that don't have guaranteed outcomes and allow yourself to venture into unfamiliar territory. This is where true change happens. It's in the space of not knowing that new ideas, insights, and opportunities can emerge. When you stay in the familiar, your brain continues to fire the same neural circuits, creating the same experiences. But when you step into the unknown, you disrupt that cycle, and your brain has the opportunity to form new connections that support your growth. This is where trust comes in: trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust that the unknown will reveal itself to you in time. At first, it may feel uncomfortable because you're no longer relying on the certainty of your past experiences. But with each step into the unknown, you begin to build a new sense of confidence, one that is rooted in your ability to navigate uncertainty rather than avoid it. The more you practice stepping into the unknown, the more comfortable it becomes, and eventually it becomes your new normal. In this space of uncertainty, you are no longer limited by the past. You're no longer bound by the same old patterns and limitations. Instead, you are free to create, explore, and discover new aspects of yourself and your potential. The unknown is where you tap into the quantum field of possibilities, where the future is not yet written, and you have the power to shape it through your thoughts, intentions, and actions. By embracing the unknown, you open the door to a future that is greater than anything you could have imagined while remaining in the safety of the familiar. The quantum field represents the realm of infinite possibilities where all potential realities exist simultaneously, waiting to be chosen by your consciousness. This field operates beyond the physical world, beyond the limitations of time and space, and it is in this space that your future is created. Every possibility for your life, every outcome, every version of yourself already exists in this field. The key to manifesting the future you desire lies in your desirability to align your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the possibilities you want to bring into your reality. When you hold on to old patterns, thoughts, and emotions, you remain connected to a limited set of possibilities, those that are based on your past experiences. You're essentially living in a loop, repeating the same outcomes over and over again because your energy is tied to the past. But when you give up the old, when you release those limiting beliefs and emotional attachments, you free yourself to access the quantum field in a new way. You are no longer defined by your past, and as a result, you open yourself up to a new range of potential outcomes. Your mind and emotions act as the signal that interacts with this field of infinite potential. Your thoughts are like a broadcast, sending out frequencies that align with certain possibilities. If you continue to think in the same ways, you're sending out the same signal, and the universe responds by delivering the same result. But when you change your thoughts, when you shift your emotional state, you begin to emit a new signal, one that aligns with the future you wish to create. This is where the power of intention comes in. By consciously choosing your thoughts and emotions, you can direct your energy toward the possibilities that resonate with your vision. It's important to understand that the quantum field does not respond to what you want or hope for, it responds to who you are being. If you continue to think and feel in ways that are rooted in lack, fear, or doubt, you will remain connected to the possibilities that reflect those states of being. But if you embody the emotions and mindset of your desired future, feel the gratitude, the joy, the abundance as if it has already happened, you are aligning your energy with those potential realities in the quantum field, you are essentially becoming a match for the future you wish to experience. This is how the process of manifestation works at its core. By letting go of the old, you are no longer bound to a limited set of possibilities. You step into the realm of infinite potential where anything is possible. When you live in alignment with this field, you begin to attract and create the life you desire. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy become the tools with which you navigate this vast field of potential, drawing to you the experiences and outcomes that reflect your highest vision for your life. The more you practice this, the more you realize that you are not separate from the quantum field, you are an active participant in it, co-creating your reality with every thought and feeling. To truly transform your life, you must practice and embody the new self you wish to become. This process goes beyond simply visualizing or thinking about the change you want. It requires you to actively engage in behaviors and attitudes that align with your desired identity. Often, when individuals aspire to become a version of themselves that is healthier, more successful, or more fulfilled, they forget that transformation is not just a mental exercise. It's about becoming that version of yourself in every way, emotionally, mentally, and physically. This embodiment is crucial for making the change lasting and meaningful. When you envision your future self, consider how they think, feel, and act. What emotions do they experience daily? What thoughts do they nurture? What actions do they take? Once you have a clear picture, begin to practice those thoughts and behaviors in your present life. Start small. For example, if your future self is confident and successful, practice speaking positively about yourself and your ability. Challenge negative self-talk by replacing it with affirmations that reflect your new identity. This conscious effort to adopt the mindset of your future self sends powerful signals to your brain, initiating the rewiring process. Embodying your new self also involves a shift in emotional energy. It's essential to cultivate the emotions that resonate with your desired identity. If your future self is joyful and abundant, focus on feeling those emotions in the present. You can do this through gratitude practices, mindfulness, or even simple moments of joy. Each time you connect with those elevated emotions, you reinforce the new neural pathways that align with your future self. Over time, these new emotional states will become your default, replacing the old patterns that no longer serve you. In addition to thoughts and emotions, physical actions play a significant role in this transformation. In order to take steps that align with your desired self, if you envision yourself as fit and healthy, begin to incorporate activities that support that identity into your daily routine. This could mean committing to regular exercise, eating nourishing foods, or prioritizing self-care. Each small action you take reinforces your commitment to becoming that new version of yourself. Accountability is also a vital part of embodying change. Surround yourself with supportive individuals who uplift you and reflect the person you aspire to be. Share your goals and intentions with them and allow their encouragement to inspire you to stay on track. Their presence can act as a reminder of your commitment to transformation. Remember, this is a continuous process. As you practice embodying your new self, you will inevitably face setbacks and challenges. It's essential to approach these obstacles with self-compassion and resilience. Instead of reverting to old patterns, view challenges as opportunities for growth. Each time you choose to embody your desired self, even in the face of difficulty, you strengthen your new identity. Ultimately, this practice of becoming the person you wish to be transforms not just your mindset, but your entire life experience, paving the way for a future that aligns with your deepest aspirations. We're living in a world where we've become very good at holding on to what no longer serves us. Our past experiences, our past beliefs, but what we often don't realize is that these old patterns are keeping us from becoming who we're truly meant to be. The first step in transformation is recognizing the deeply ingrained patterns that shape your life. Many of us are unaware of the limiting beliefs and behaviors we've unconsciously adopted over the years. These patterns often run on autopilot, dictating our actions, thoughts, and reactions without us even realizing it. Whether they come from past experiences, family influences, or societal expectations, these internal programs have a powerful hold on us. They can keep us stuck in the same cycles, making it difficult to move forward and create meaningful change. These patterns have become so familiar that they feel like second nature. They provide a sense of comfort, even when they no longer serve us. Perhaps you've heard yourself thinking, this is just the way I am, or things never seem to change. But this is the very trap that keeps you from evolving. The familiar even if it's not beneficial, feels safer than the unknown. So we keep repeating the same behaviors, having the same thoughts, and ultimately creating the same results in our lives. This is how the past continues to dictate the future, unless we consciously intervene. It's crucial to develop awareness of these patterns because without that awareness, you remain a prisoner of them. Take a moment to reflect on your daily routines, your emotional responses, your thought processes. You notice recurring themes? Do you find yourself feeling stuck in the same situations, encountering the same frustrations, or having the same unfulfilled desires? If so, that's a sign that the old is still controlling your life. And until you become aware of it, you cannot break free from it. This process of self examination requires honesty. It's not always comfortable to admit that you've been operating on outdated beliefs or that certain habits are holding you back. But this discomfort is a necessary part of growth. Awareness is the first step because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Once you become conscious of these patterns, you begin to disempower them. You start to see them for what they are: learned behaviors, old stories, and mental conditioning that you've accepted as truth. When you observe your old patterns without judgment, you create the space for change. It's not about labeling them as good or bad, but understanding their role in your life up to this point. The brain is designed to follow the path of least resistance. It loves what's familiar, what it knows, and what feels safe. When you've been thinking and behaving in certain ways for long periods of time, your brain forms deeply entrenched neural pathways. These pathways become the default setting for how you respond to the world. The more you engage in certain thoughts and actions, the stronger these connections become, which is why habits, both mental and physical, are so hard to break. It's like your brain is always looking for efficiency, so it reuses these well-worn routes over and over again. And this is why making any significant change feels difficult at first. Your brain resists it. It wants to pull you back into the old patterns because those patterns feel comfortable, even if they don't serve your highest good. Think of it as trying to take a new road after driving the same route every day for years. It's unfamiliar, and your brain will keep nudging you to turn back toward what you know. This is not because the brain is sabotaging you, but because it is simply programmed to conserve energy and stick to routines. It's an evolutionary mechanism that helped our ancestors survive, but in the modern world, it can be a barrier to personal transformation. When you consciously decide to break these cycles, you are asking your brain to do something that feels unnatural, or asking it to rewire itself to forge new neural pathways that support different ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. In the beginning, this takes effort. It requires a level of awareness and intention that most of us aren't used to in our daily life. But the more you practice it, the more you begin to weaken the old pathways and strengthen the new ones. Over time, the new ways of being start to feel more natural, and the brain adapts to this new reality. Your thoughts are the blueprint for your brain's wiring. Every time you think a thought, you are reinforcing a neural connection. If your thoughts are stuck in old limiting patterns, your brain will continue to fire in those same sequences. This creates a feedback loop where your thoughts influence your brain's structure, and your brain's structure reinforces those thoughts. To break free, you have to consciously interrupt this loop. You have to start thinking in new ways, even when it feels uncomfortable or foreign at first. This is how you begin to reclaim control over your mind and direct it toward the future you want to create. Emotions are powerful energy forces that have the ability to anchor you in the past. They tie you to experiences, memories, and perceptions of reality, often more strongly than thoughts alone. Every time you feel a familiar emotion, whether it's frustration, anger, sadness, or even guilt, your body is reliving a moment from your past. This emotional state becomes your personal prison, keeping you locked into old patterns and preventing you from moving forward. The reason is simple: emotions are biochemical feedback loops in your body. When you experience a familiar emotion, your brain releases chemicals that reinforce that feeling, making it difficult to break free. When we talk about giving up the old, we aren't just talking about changing the way you think, we're talking about changing the way you feel. Your emotional responses are deeply intertwined with your memories. The more emotionally charged the memory is, the more likely it is that you'll relive it, even if the event itself happened years ago. Your brain and body don't know the difference between an experience that's happening in the moment and one that you're simply recalling. So when you hold on to negative emotions, you're telling your body that you're still living in that past event. As a result, you get stuck in a cycle where the past continues to control your present and limit your future. This is why letting go of old emotional energy is so critical. If you continue to hold on to resentment, fear, or doubt, you're energetically keeping yourself anchored in the past. Your body becomes conditioned to these emotional states, and before you know it, they become part of your identity. You might even find yourself saying things like, I'm always anxious, or I can't help but feel angry. These emotions over time start to define who you are, but they don't have to. They're simply energy that's been stored in your body, and you have the power to release them. Releasing these emotions begins with awareness. You have to notice when you're falling into the same emotional pattern. Or there are certain situations or people that trigger the same reactions in you. Do you find yourself feeling the same emotional responses without even realizing it? Once you become aware, you can start to break the cycle. Instead of reacting automatically, you can take a moment to pause and observe the emotion. Ask yourself where it's coming from and whether it's truly relevant to the present moment. Often you'll find that these emotions are just echoes from the past, replaying themselves in your mind and body. By releasing these stored emotions, you free up energy for new possibilities. The space that was once filled with old emotional baggage can now be used to create new feelings of joy, gratitude, excitement, and love. This is where true transformation happens. You are no longer living in the shadow of your past. You are stepping into the potential of your future. The brain's remarkable ability to rewire itself is one of its greatest strengths. Known as neuroplasticity, this process allows you to form new neural connections and change the way your brain is structured and functions. Every thought you think, every action you take, and every emotion you feel creates electrical impulses in your brain. Over time, the repetition of these thoughts and behaviors strengthens specific neural pathways, making them more dominant. The problem arises when these pathways are tied to old patterns of thinking and behaving that no longer serve you. These well-worn neural circuits keep you stuck in the same habits and outcomes, even when you consciously want to change. To break free from these old cycles, you have to actively engage in creating new neural connections that align with the future you desire. This is not a passive process. It requires conscious effort and practice. The first step is to become aware of your habitual thoughts and behaviors. Notice how often you default to the same responses, the same patterns, the same reactions. Once you've identified these patterns, you can begin the work of rewiring your brain by choosing new thoughts and actions that support your growth. It's important to understand that your brain doesn't make distinctions between what's real and what's imagined. This is where the power of visualization and intention comes into play. By repeatedly visualizing the future you want to create and mentally rehearsing new behaviors, you start to lay down new neural pathways that support this vision. The more you focus on these new thoughts and actions, the stronger these pathways become. Eventually, they will become your brain's new default setting, replacing the old limiting patterns that have been holding you back. But this process takes time and consistency. At first, thinking in new ways and behaving differently may feel uncomfortable or forced. This is because your brain is wired to follow familiar paths, and it takes effort to forge new ones. You may find yourself slipping back into old patterns, but this is a natural part of the process. Each time you consciously choose a new thought or action, even if it's difficult, you are training your brain to function in a different way. The key is to remain patient and persistent. Every time you repeat a new thought, every time you take a new action, you are literally reshaping the structure of your brain. The old neural connections that once kept you stuck in repetitive cycles of behavior begin to weaken, while the new ones grow stronger. Eventually, what once felt difficult or unnatural becomes second nature, and your brain adapts to this new way of being. This is how you take control of your mind and body, aligning them with the future you want to create.